Found out I was married while applying for a visa. I was just trying to go on vacation. That's it. No big plans, no drama, just a simple trip to Europe with my friends. But instead of getting my visa approved, I ended up getting hit with the most insane news of my life. Apparently, I was already married to a woman I had never met for 3 years. And let me tell you, I have never been more confused, terrified, and absolutely pissed off than in that moment. So, my friends and I had planned this epic trip across Europe. We were going to hit up Italy, France, Spain, the whole deal. Everything was set. Flights booked. Hotels reserved. All I needed was a visa. So, I went to submit my application, expecting it to be a routine process. The lady at the visa office was typing in my details, nodding along, everything seemed fine. Then she frowned at her screen. "Sir, are you legally married?" I laughed. Definitely not." She didn't laugh back. She just squinted at the monitor and said, "Are you sure?" Now, I was nervous. Yeah, I think I'd know if I had a wife. She turned the screen slightly and there it was. In official government records, under my name, was a marriage certificate, dated 3 years ago, with a woman named Sofia Rodriguez. I had no idea who that was. Trying to understand how the hell this happened. My brain completely shut down. "There has to be a mistake," I said, staring at the screen. The visa officer shook her head. "No mistake. According to the system, you've been legally married to Sofia Rodriguez since 2020. 2020? What was I even doing in 2020? Oh yeah, not getting married." I pulled out my phone and Googled the name. No social media. No LinkedIn. No nothing. It was like this woman didn't even exist. Except, apparently, she did. And according to the government, she was my wife. The investigation begins. The second I left the visa office, I went straight to the civil registry. I needed answers. The clerk looked up my file and, sure enough, there was an official marriage record with my name on it. Legally binding. I pointed at it, losing my mind. I never signed this. I have never even met this woman. The clerk just shrugged. "Looks real to me." I asked if they could show me the original document. They printed it out. And guess what? It had my signature. Except, it wasn't mine. How the hell did someone fake a marriage? At this point, I was freaking out. I started thinking of every possible explanation. Identity theft? Maybe. Some kind of clerical error? Unlikely. A prank? Not funny. I asked the clerk, "How does something like this even happen?" He sighed. "It's more common than you think. People fake marriages for visas, legal benefits, immigration status." And that's when it hit me. I had probably been used for a visa scam. Someone faked a marriage with me to get residency. I wasn't about to let some random stranger walk around legally married to me. So I started digging. After days of searching, I finally found a lead. Sofia Rodriguez wasn't completely invisible. She had one old profile on some obscure job site. She lived in another country. And guess what? She had applied for residency right after our marriage was registered. Bingo. I found a way to contact her. I messaged her. No response. I called. Nothing. Then one day I got an email. From Sofia. And all it said was, "I'm sorry. I needed a way to stay in the country." That's it. No explanation. No attempt to fix things. She just used my name, faked a marriage, got what she wanted, and vanished. Fixing the mess. It took me months to legally annul the marriage. More paperwork than I've ever done in my life. More waiting. More explaining to government officials that, no, I wasn't actually married, and yes, I had been scammed. Eventually, I was free. But the whole ordeal ruined my visa application. And the trip? It didn't happen. Now, I triple-check every legal document with my name on it. I have identity theft alerts set up. And I will never assume that just because I didn't do something, it didn't happen. Because apparently, one day you can be a normal single guy. And the next day, you can have a wife you've never met. My girlfriend suggested a threesome, but the third person was her brother. I thought my girlfriend and I had a great relationship. We were happy, comfortable with each other, and everything seemed normal. Until one night she brought up something that completely shattered my brain. She suggested a threesome. Which, okay, I wasn't against the idea. But when I asked who she had in mind, she casually dropped the most disturbing answer imaginable. Her brother. And I have never experienced such instant, pure, bone-deep horror in my life. It started like any other night. We were chilling at home, watching some random Netflix show when my girlfriend, Lisa, turned to me with this mischievous smile. "Babe, I've been thinking. I kinda want to try something new in the bedroom." I raised an eyebrow. "Oh yeah." She nodded, biting her lip. "Yeah. Like, bringing in a third person." At this point I was intrigued. I mean, what guy doesn't at least entertain the idea of a threesome at some point? So I played it cool and asked, "Okay, who do you have in mind?" And this is where everything went straight to hell. Lisa beamed, like she was about to tell me the best news ever. Then she said, "My brother, Jake." The absolute breakdown of my brain. I froze. I blinked. I replayed the sentence in my head because there was no way I heard that correctly. "Wait, what?" I asked, laughing nervously. "You mean, like, a different Jake, right? Not your actual brother?" Lisa gave me this innocent, confused look, like I was the one being weird. "No, silly. My brother Jake." She said it so casually, like she had just suggested we get sushi for dinner instead of Mexican. Like it was a normal thing to say. Meanwhile, my brain was short-circuiting. "Lisa, do you hear yourself right now?" I asked, voice shaking. She sighed, like I was making a big deal out of nothing. "Look, I know it sounds weird at first, but just hear me out." I will not hear you out. I should have just walked out right then and there. But part of me needed to understand how the hell she thought this was okay. So, like a dumbass, I let her continue. "Jake and I have always been super close," she explained. "We tell each other everything and we're really open about, experiences. So I thought, why not?" I was physically nauseous. I put my hand up. "Lisa, please, stop talking." But she kept going. "It wouldn't be weird. I mean, we're adults, and it's just for fun. Plus, he's really attractive, right?" I gagged. She actually looked offended at my reaction. "Why are you acting so grossed out?" "Because it's your brother, Lisa." I exploded. "Do you understand how insane this sounds?" She just rolled her eyes. "You're being really immature about this." "Oh, I'm sorry, am I?" I needed to get the hell out. At this point, I knew this relationship was dead. There was no coming back from this. You can't just casually suggest incest and expect things to go back to normal. I grabbed my stuff, shaking my head. "Lisa, I can't do this. I don't know what's wrong with you, but I am not going to be part of whatever messed up fantasy this is." She rolled her eyes again. "Wow. I thought you were more open-minded." Now I'm the problem. Now I'm the close-minded one because I don't want to sleep with my girlfriend's sibling. I slammed the door behind me and left forever. Lisa blew up my phone for a week after that. At first, she acted like nothing was wrong. "Babe, can we just talk? I feel like you overreacted." Then she got angry. "Wow, so you just walk away the second things get interesting? Typical." Then, she got creepy. "I talked to Jake about it, and he thinks you're being super insecure. Why are you talking to him about this?" I blocked her so fast I think I broke my phone. Where she is now. Last I heard, Lisa and Jake moved in together. I don't know what the hell is going on in that apartment, and I don't want to know. All I know is that I will never trust another exciting suggestion from a girlfriend ever again. The lesson? If someone suggests a threesome, always ask who they have in mind first. Because apparently, some people don't have boundaries. My coworkers stole my idea and then asked me to help finish it. I always thought that working hard and being a team player would get me ahead in life. Do your job, be reliable, and eventually, good things will come your way. I didn't realize that in the corporate world, some people don't play fair. Because one day, my coworker stole my idea, took all the credit, and then had the audacity to ask me to help him finish it. And let me tell you, I have never felt so disrespected in my entire life. So, I worked at this mid-sized company where everything was collaborative, which really meant watch your back because someone will steal your work. I had been working on a new project proposal for weeks. I spent late nights brainstorming, pulling together data, and crafting the perfect pitch to present to my boss. My coworker, Todd, because of course his name was Todd, was always hovering around my desk. "Hey, what are you working on?" he'd ask, acting all innocent. I didn't think much of it. After all, we were on the same team. I even shared a few details with him because, I thought we were friends. The day of the big meeting, I walked in confident. I had my notes ready. I was prepared to show off weeks of hard work. But before I could even speak, my boss turned to Todd and said, "Todd, why don't you kick things off with your new proposal?" "Excuse me?" I looked at Todd, and this snake pulled up a PowerPoint presentation that looked eerily familiar. Because it was my freaking presentation. Same data. Same structure. Same key points. The only difference? My name wasn't on it. I sat there in complete shock as Todd presented my idea like it was his. I could barely focus on what he was saying because my brain was screaming. Is this really happening right now? And the worst part? My boss was loving it. Nodding. Taking notes. Saying things like, "Great work, Todd. This is exactly what we need." Meanwhile, I was sitting there like a complete idiot, watching my career get stolen right in front of me. Todd's unbelievable request. After the meeting, I was still in a rage blackout when Todd had the audacity to walk up to me and say, "Hey, man, I could really use your help finalizing the details. Since you know this stuff so well, maybe we could work together on it." Are you serious right now? I just stared at him, trying to process the sheer level of bold-faced betrayal happening in front of me. You stole my work and now you want my help? Todd actually had the nerve to laugh. "Relax, dude. It's not a big deal. We're a team, right?" Now we're a team? At that moment, I had two options. Let him walk all over me and get away with it. Make sure he regrets this for the rest of his career. Guess which one I picked? I went straight to my boss. Professional, but armed with every receipt necessary to bury Todd alive. I pulled up. Heavy checkmark my original drafts, with timestamps. Heavy checkmark emails where I shared early ideas with Todd. Heavy checkmark my work log showing the hours I spent on research. And then I hit my boss with the final blow. I just wanted to clarify, should I stop working on project ideas since Todd will be presenting them as his own from now on? Todd's downfall. My boss was not happy. He called Todd into his office and I swear, I could hear the panic in his voice as he tried to explain. We were brainstorming together, so I thought. My boss cut him off. "So you thought stealing someone else's work and taking credit for it was acceptable?" Todd was screwed. He tried to weasel his way out, saying it was a misunderstanding and that he was just trying to collaborate. But my boss wasn't buying it. By the end of that conversation, Todd was off the project. And me? I got to present my work in the next meeting, with full credit. Todd never fully recovered from that screw-up. After that, no one trusted him. He lost out on promotions. He got left out of meetings. Eventually, he quit. Meanwhile, I kept climbing the ladder, because if there's one thing I learned, the lesson? Always keep receipts. Because some people will steal your work, smile in your face, and ask you to help them do it. And when they do, you better be ready to burn their career to the ground.
My boyfriend asked me to move in, but forgot to mention he had a wife. When you move in with someone, it's supposed to be a big step in the relationship. A sign of commitment, trust, and a shared future. For me, moving in with my boyfriend was exactly that, until I found out that I wasn't the only one living with him. Because, as it turns out, my amazing, loving, perfect boyfriend forgot to tell me he already had a wife. The dream relationship. I met Ryan through mutual friends, and from the beginning he was everything I wanted. Charming. Funny. Smart. He had this effortless confidence that made me feel safe and wanted. For a whole year we had what I thought was the perfect relationship. He never hid his phone. He took me out on real dates. I met some of his friends. He even talked about the future. Nothing about him screamed liar or cheater. So when he suggested we move in together, I said yes without a second thought. I should have thought harder. Moving day was stressful but exciting. I had packed all my stuff, rented a truck, and was ready to officially start our life together. Ryan had given me a key a few days before, telling me I could start bringing things in early if I wanted. And I probably should have noticed that he never actually helped me move. He was always busy, always had meetings, always said, "Just let me know if you need anything." I assumed he was just giving me space to get settled. But in reality, he was giving himself time to cover his tracks. On the third day after moving in, I woke up early to unpack. Ryan had told me he'd be working late, so I wasn't expecting to see him. I was making coffee, half asleep in my pajamas, when I heard the front door unlock. Froze. Then a woman walked in. Not just any woman, a woman with a key. A very angry woman. She looked at me. I looked at her. For a second we were both just staring. Then she said the words that shattered my reality. "Who the hell are you? And why are you in my apartment?" The worst conversation of my life. I started stuttering. "Wait, your apartment. Live here. Who are you?" And then she laughed. Not a funny laugh. A disbelief, "Holy shit, you can't be serious" laugh. "You live here. Honey, I'm his wife." I think my soul left my body. I actually felt lightheaded. "You're joking," I whispered. "Do I look like I'm joking?" she snapped. No, she did not. Suddenly all made sense. Why Ryan never let me leave things at his place before we moved in. Why he was always busy on weekends. Why I had never met his family. Why he had been so nervous about me moving in alone. Because he wasn't just my boyfriend. He was her husband, and I had just moved into their home. Where the hell was Ryan? I immediately called Ryan. No answer. Texted him. Nothing. The wife, who I now knew as Sophie, crossed her arms and sighed. Figures. He's probably hiding like a coward. She wasn't even mad at me. She was mad at him. Apparently she had no idea about me either. For 2 years, Ryan had been living a double life. 2 hours later, Ryan finally showed up. The moment he saw us both standing there, waiting for him, his face went pale. Hey. He said hey. Like we had just run into each other at the grocery store. Sophie and I lost it. She screamed at him for lying to her. I screamed at him for making me the other woman without my knowledge. He stood there looking like a kid caught stealing candy. And the worst part. He actually tried to say, "But I love both of you." The aftermath. I left that apartment immediately. Ryan tried to text and call me after, but I blocked him on everything. Sophie. She divorced his ass. She and I actually stayed in touch for a little while, mostly to talk about how much we hated him. And Ryan. Last I heard, he was single, living in a tiny apartment, and very, very lonely. The lesson. If a guy rushes to move in with you, check if he already has a wife first.
She cheated on me and wanted me to apologize. I always thought that if someone cheats in a relationship, they're the one who should feel guilty. They should be the ones apologizing, begging for forgiveness, doing whatever it takes to fix the mess they made. Because when my girlfriend cheated on me, she somehow managed to twist everything around until I was the bad guy. And the worst part? For a brief, stupid moment, I almost believed her. Her name was Mia. We had been together for 2 years, and as far as I knew, everything was fine. Sure, we had arguments, every couple does, but nothing major. I trusted her completely. Then, about a month before everything fell apart, I noticed something was off. She was texting a lot, but whenever I asked who it was, she'd say, "Just a friend from work." She started coming home later than usual but always had a perfect excuse. Got caught up at the office, or traffic was crazy. And the intimacy? Yeah, that pretty much disappeared overnight. But like an idiot, I told myself, she's just stressed. It's nothing. I should have known better. How I found out? The truth didn't come from some dramatic reveal. There was no anonymous tip, no catching her in the act, no dramatic confrontation. Nope. She straight up told me. One night she came home and said, "We need to talk." And that's when she dropped the bomb. "I cheated on you." Just like that. So casual. Like she was telling me she forgot to buy milk. I sat there in shock. What? She sighed, like she was exhausted from having to explain this to me. It was a mistake, okay? It didn't mean anything. I felt like my stomach had been ripped out. I took a deep breath, trying to process. Why are you telling me this? I expected an apology. Tears. Regret. Something. Instead, she crossed her arms and said, "Because I think you need to take responsibility for your part in this." Excuse me? I blinked, convinced I had misheard. My part? She nodded. You've been distant. You don't compliment me as much anymore. You don't make me feel special like you used to. I needed attention, and I wasn't getting it from you. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. SHE cheated. And now, somehow, I was the reason for it? I was so stunned I actually started to feel guilty. Like maybe she had a point? Maybe I hadn't been the best boyfriend lately? And that's when I realized, no. This was complete bullshit. I stood up, heart pounding. Let me get this straight. You decided to cheat on me, and now you're blaming me for it. She had the nerve to roll her eyes. I'm just saying, if you had been more present in this relationship, maybe I wouldn't have had to look elsewhere. At that moment, I felt every ounce of love I had for her just evaporate. I wasn't going to let her gaslight me into believing this was my fault. Get out. Her eyes widened. What? I said get out. We're done. You're really breaking up with me over this? She scoffed. It was just a mistake. No, Mia. A mistake is forgetting to pay a bill. A mistake is spilling coffee on your shirt. You made a choice. And now you have to live with it. She stormed out, slamming the door, muttering something about how I was overreacting. But for the first time in weeks, I felt clear-headed. Mia tried to come back a few days later, texting me, calling me, leaving long messages about how she didn't want to lose me over one little mistake. But I knew better. I wasn't going to be that guy, the one who lets a cheater back in, only to get screwed over again. I blocked her, moved on. And let me tell you, I have never regretted that decision. The lesson? If someone cheats and then tries to blame you for it, because a person who can betray you and then make you feel guilty for it, they don't deserve you.